Welcome to OLO Marker. My name is Lori Craig, and we are glad that you are here this evening. I am joined tonight with a special guest, John Darland. John is the founder of OLO Marker, and he and I have worked together for a number of years. And we just wanted to come live tonight and get to chat with you about our Fine Nib campaign. So from kind of the beginning and the inception of OLO Marker, whether we are teaching or at trade shows or visiting stores or talking to people, that one of the very first or the number one questions we get is, do you have a Fine Nib? And so we're a fairly new company. We've been around for, I don't know, John, 5-6 years, right? Going on 6 years, it seems like. Going on 30, it feels like. But we are very excited about the Fine Nib campaign. And so we thought we would just take a chance this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you're joining us. I'm in the Midwest. John's on the West Coast. Our office is in Eugene, Oregon, our warehouse. And Kim is in the chat. So Kim kind of, she helps us with a lot of our marketing efforts and a lot of our social media. So if you have questions, she'll be sharing links this evening. And but we just wanted to kind of show you the Fine Nib, talk a little bit about the process, and answer some questions that you might have. So John, why don't you kind of introduce yourself? Let people know. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on, John. I am not hearing you. Okay.
How about now?
Yep, that would be great.
You hear me now? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Double window, so I did manage both mute buttons. Hey, everyone, thanks so much for being here tonight. It's great to see you all. Or actually, I don't see you, but I can see all the chats happening. We're excited to have you join us tonight, so you can just hear a little bit more from Lori about the Fine Nib. She'll talk about the Fine Nib a little bit, and mostly we just want to be available for questions, give you any more information. I think most of the information floating around out there is pretty accurate, but I think there's some things that we want to make sure everybody understands. And for those of you who don't know who I am, I've been selling markers for, I think, since about 1999. Sold another brand for a long time, made it really, really popular and famous, and now we have our own brand. We basically took 20 years of feedback from artists, what they liked, didn't like about markers, and went to Japan, built a new team, found some great technology, and built a brand new marker, really based on feedback from all of you, the things that you liked and the things that you didn't like. And so far, people are loving it, and we're really, really excited about it. And we're really excited to offer this third nib style, which I know everybody's been waiting for a really long time. And we're finally getting close. So thanks for being here.
Yes, me too. Me too. I'm very excited to have my hands on it and have a few. I only have a few colors. So. When you, on the video description tonight, you will see a link to a download that we put together. If you want to color along with us this evening, we'd love to have you to do that. Really just some simple images that I thought might one match up with some of the colors that I have, because we are somewhat limited so far, and just kind of show you a little bit about how it works and do a little bit of coloring demonstration, and I'll kind of share with you how I think I'm going to be using it. I am primarily paper craft. I'm one of the few people on our team that's my go-to. I spend a lot of time in the paper crafting audience, with stores, with other people who love cutting up and gluing paper together just as much as I do. I see several friends in the chat, so hello, Martha. But I am very excited about it because there's a lot of times when I want to do some traditional blending on smaller images, and sometimes the brush is just a little bit too big for that. And so I think it's going to be exciting to be able to transfer and use OLO freely, no matter what style that we have. So I think let's just, first things first, let me show you the different marker styles that we have, and then we can kind of go from there. But so when OLO was introduced, it was introduced with a brush and a chisel marker combination. And from the very beginning, the idea was that OLO would be your brush, your marker, your way. Okay, so here we've got a black barreled chisel marker with a brush nib, and I use this about 90% of the time. Um, it is our most popular nib, wouldn't you say, John? It's probably the, I mean,
Yeah,
it
for
is
sure.
popular for sure. And then we have a chisel, a traditional chisel nib. And I currently have all my markers set up with a brush on one end and a chisel on the other. And I keep mine with the same color on each side. It's just easy for me. I do use the chisel because it has such a firm base to it that if I want to get straight lines or if I'm covering a large surface area, the thing about the OLO chisel specifically is that it's faceted with a lot of different edge points. So you can, when you are coloring, you can get a really nice thin line. You can turn the edge of the marker and get something that is a little bit thicker, or you can go to the broad side of the marker and get a third thickness out of it. So I do have mine set up that way, and that's the way that I use it. When we have the fine nib, that will be a third nib style, and you can see that it is also pointed like the brush, but it has a firm tip to it. And it's going to give you a very thin line to color in or to do accent and detail work. So I am super excited about this. It is going to fit just right on the same. I'm going to be able to do brush on one side, fine nib on the other. I can't do three, John. I haven't figured out how I'm going to keep the chisel and the fine nib and the brush, but super excited about that. And so let's just we'll show you a little bit of information about the fine nib. So one of the things was important to us is that it is the same quality that you've come to expect from us. So one of the things in the beginning that sets OLO apart is our unique ink disbursement system. And, there were a lot of reasons for that, but primarily they are for enhancement to experience, to using experience, because it's that ink flow that allows your colors to blend and gives you nice, smooth application of color. And that was very, very difficult. There was a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of research, and a lot of development that went into that ink development system. And the other thing about the ink development system is the efficiency that it allows you to use 100 not 100, about 90-92% of the ink that's inside the barrel. So when we transfer to each nib style, you have got some development, trial and error and hurdles and research to do to make that ink flow system work with each of your nib styles. So we're excited that we have done the work on that, and you're going to love it. We kind of envisioned the OLO Fine Nib to be perfect for details, outline work, adding texture, blending in small areas, and small stamped images. So, Cheryl, can you change the fine nib to the brush or the chisel? Yes, you can. So our ink cartridge system, which is where the ink is housed, is the same whether you're looking at a brush nib, a fine nib, or a chisel nib. So you will be able to change that out. So one of the things that's important to us is the color coding of our bodies on our markers, just so you know which marker you're picking up. And so here you can see that the brush, the chisel, and the fine all have their own independent color, so that once you put those together in your studio or in your workspace, you instinctively know which marker you're picking up. So compatible with all of this OLO accessories. You have the same patented ink flow system. and replacement nibs and replacement ink cartridges will be available after our launch. So we are in the midst of our Fine Nib launch, and we are offering that in the form of a pre-sale. So, John, I want you to be able to talk about this a little bit too, but the best way that I can kind of put this is, I don't know, maybe a month ago, I ordered an Advent box for myself because you see them a lot during the summer and you order, and that gives the manufacturer, the partner company that's putting it together, time to really procure exactly what they need. And it's kind of the concept of our pre sale, wouldn't you say, John?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So,
For
uh,
sure. So a couple things I'll throw out there. Just the question about will the can you use the fine nib inside the chisel body or the brush body? And just to kind of back Lori up there, you can. Our cartridges can all be interchanged. Now, the whole purpose of the different color coding on the body of the marker is so that you know which end is which. Because that was one of the top complaints that people had, or issues that they had with using markers, was they were constantly taking the wrong cap off. And that's why we made the black the brush, the gray the chisel, the light gray will be the fine nib. But for those of you who really want to mix and match things, or um, take your new fine nib or chisel nib and put it in a brush body, you can do that. Um, the the thing that we do want to make sure is really clear, that for the pre-sale right now, the only thing that we are offering are completed markers. The replacement fine nib is slightly different than what is the production fine nib is, and it's just in length. Um, to make sure that when you do swap nibs around, that there's really good contact inside the marker. Um, and those won't be available until we actually launch to the general public after the Fine Nib campaign. So the Fine Nib campaign is right now is really meant to get us to the point where we can get into full production. As you can all imagine, um, 256 colors times the amount of markers we have to make um, per color to get this thing going is it's quite an undertaking, and that's why we're doing it this way, so that we can get it going. And then the reward will be those of you who do participate now get a special prize. You get the bonus things that we've got going on, but also um, you'll have access to them quite a bit sooner than everybody else. So
yes.
um, that's that's just to clarify. Hopefully, both of those points.
Yeah. And because when our first production run comes, it will just be markers for people that have pre-ordered markers. It won't be extra accessories for the independent nibs or ink cartridges. So that's kind of the reason on that, and the reason for the pre-sale. So Christine, John, yes, John, Christine has,
Yeah,
if the campaign fails to reach the full funding, will we receive a complete refund? Yes, Christine.
yeah. So you would, yes, of course you would. However, um, this it's not going to be the case. I mean, the campaign is moving along nicely. We're going to launch this product. I'm not going to put any guarantees out there uh, uh, online at this point, just because you have to be really careful about everything you say. But um, for those of you listening now, there's almost no chance that this isn't going to go forward. So you don't have to worry about that. But also you don't have to worry about anything that you've prepaid. If you've prepaid, you'll be refunded 100% everything. If for whatever reason something doesn't go through. And we've done this a few times already. I think this is our third pre-sale. I think we did the original one. We've done the 32 new colors and the 96 new colors, and um, we've everything has worked out fine, and we've delivered the product to you. And again, we'll do it again on this one. We know it's important. We know you want it. We're going to do everything by all means to make sure that everybody gets the product.
Yeah. I think so, and I think that's one thing. If you a lot of and a lot of you may not realize that, but this is actually how we brought Olo to market several years ago. We launched a pre-sale campaign, and at that point, no one had ever even heard of Olo. We were brand new. We did have a lot of connections in the industry because a lot of our team has worked together for a long time, but we did the exact same type of campaign to bring Olo to market originally, and so some people might not know that. And yeah, Christine, that's one of the reasons that we have. I saw your comment about the full set. And that's one of the reasons that we have a couple of different options to reserve the Fine Nib set, because a full set doesn't work for everybody. Believe it or not, because in papercraft, my genre, we tend to talk about the full set syndrome and everybody wants that. But there are a couple of different buy-in options, as you can see on your screen, to get into the Fine Nib. So you can, the larger the package, the higher the discount that you receive. But there are options to get into it with 64 colors, 128 colors, or 256 colors. So, it's not an all or nothing, and trying to give options to kind of meet people where they're at. So, um, but let's see here. So, John, why don't you talk just a little bit about the road to production and some of the things that we're doing as an incentive for people? I have this slide and one more, and then I want to get into some demonstration because I think that's where we'll get a lot of questions and people want to see that in action.
Sure. Yeah, I think just to finish up about the program. Really, we've got about, I think it's what, four milestones that we're preparing, and how it works is the first milestone was a nice paper bundle. So if you bought in at a certain point, you're getting the discount plus the paper bundle. Um, the second milestone will be a digital gift card, a decent amount on the gift card as well, for all three levels of purchasing, and then we'll introduce a third milestone, which will have some other value, and then the fourth milestone will be the last one. And for those of you who've already purchased, you're going to get all of those things. And for those of you who maybe waited a little bit, which is no problem, you'll get whatever status you're on, whatever level it's at. You'll get those plus anything that comes up. So we're trying to have a really fair system that rewards people who kind of committed early, because we understand it's a lot of money and it's time to wait. We totally understand, which is why we really really appreciate your support. It really helps us. We're a small company, trying to overcome a pretty substantial commitment and a resource challenge. And without you guys, it doesn't happen. So we really really do appreciate it, and we need your help to spread the word. The faster we get this to a certain point, the sooner we can get into production. So having you guys all spread the word and let people know is also really really helpful for us. Um,
So it's exciting and it's going great. So, but we did know that you guys had some and wanted to jump out there. So, yes, I saw someone said, "How do I change from 64 to the 256?" And Kim answered that for you. But basically, if you just reach out to us at hello@olomarker.com, we'll for sure take care of you,
we'll
and
fix it. Yeah.
we'll fix it. We'll fix it. So, let's see. Let's kind of look. Let's go to my down camera. And so the download. If you took the download, you have a cover sheet, and then I have cut this up into four just because, like I said, I'm a card maker. But I thought we would just do a little bit of coloring together. And so I'm going to kind of zoom in so that you can see it. And Christine says she's in Washington State and we're in Oregon. Can you visit Olo? Well, Christine, I guess you probably could visit us. We are a warehouse. There's not an incredible amount to see. So, um,
But we're all really nice, and you're welcome anytime.
Yep, everybody is really nice, and you'd be welcome to stop by. I won't be there. I'm one of the few people on our team that works remote, but uh, our team there is fantastic. So I thought this might be a fun image to kind of kick off and to start, because coloring hair is something that everybody usually has a lot of questions about when I teach classes, and they're always are like, oh, how do I do that? How do I get thin streaks? And so I think that you're gonna love coloring hair with the Fine Nib, and I probably will use them a lot in a combination of the brush and the Fine Nib. So I'm just gonna set up the colors that I've got here, and keep your questions coming so we're monitoring the chat and happy to um, kind of keep answering questions as I kind of talk through. So I'll give you a little bit about my philosophy on how I color with OLO. And I've taught alcohol marker coloring for a long time, but one thing that's different for me with OLO is that I color dark to light with this marker. Um, I have found that the way that the ink blends, it's a little bit easier for me if I do dark to light. So I'm going to start here with my OR 3.7, which is my darkest, not my darkest brown, but the darkest one I have in my hand. And put my glasses on so I can see. But I'm just going to run that color right up next to my hair lines on my horse here, and bring that darkest line. And you can see, hopefully you can see how thin I'm able to get the line on that artwork. Okay. And so, and then I will switch to a lighter color. And in this one, I don't know if I don't have a Fine Nib in this colors, but that's fine because this space to me is big enough that I can use the full brush and use them interchangeably as I am coloring. Okay, so then I just kind of blend out and find that it just softens right up where I've transitioned from that darker color to the lighter. So then I can come back in, I can add some wisps with that very thin Fine Nib and bring in some texture to the hair. I would not be able to do that if I would switch to the brush nib on that darker brown. I just would not have the control to get into that small space and keep the wisps very confined and straight. So that's one of the things that I am loving as I have been, coloring a few sample images here and there for us to work with and to share with customers and, and the like. So I think you're going to love being able to get a lot of different color in a very small space. So that's 2 colors of brown. This is a darker brown. This is 07.8. And so I can kind of bring that in and add more texture. And if you have not downloaded this image, these are very, it's pretty small. So to be able to get in there with one nib and get a transition of color in those thin spaces, I am really excited about that. Okay. And it's going to blend for you exactly like you're used to blending with your brush nibs. So, and just drop in a little bit of my darker, and then I'll use my lighter marker to kind of draw that out. So, but super excited, and I have really enjoyed working with these and seeing exactly the kind of detail work that I can get drawn in. So I'm able to really just kind of use the same techniques that I teach in any of my card making classes. So I do see a lot of people that I recognize from different events that we've taught. Let's see. I'm checking the questions real quick. Oh, just some notes about people using the markers and enjoying using them from the start. which is, they do feel to me like a new marker every time every time I pick them up. It seems like it has a new feel to it. And again, that's just an indication of that ink system. And that's one of the benefits, and that's one of the goals for the free flow ink technology, is to constantly rejuvenate your nib so it feels like a new marker every time you pick it up. So you can color large spaces, but also always feel like it's fresh as you're using it. I've got all my caps mixed up in my hands, John. So, question: when are they being released? So, Julie, yes, John, tell Julie when they're. She said she just ordered the full set, and she wants to know when they're being released.
Yeah, so like in the chat, our anticipated shipping is set for spring of 2027. Um, if we hit the numbers we need to hit sooner, then it'll be a little bit sooner. But that's kind of the latest it will be. But if we can start production sooner, then we will. So we get them all shipped out even faster.
Yeah. So, looking forward to that. So, yeah, it is crazy to me the definition that you can get, Kimberly, with them, but also the traditional blending that works just like you're used to with your brush nib. The one thing I will say about the Fine Nib is that it is not, I do not use a lot of pressure with that. If it's hard for you to maybe get a feel for it because you're not watching it sideways, but I really am soft-handed and just kind of wisping that marker in, even with the Fine Nib. I'm not putting a lot of extra pressure on it because I want to be able to use just the very small tip of that marker. So Roberta is asking, the flexibility of the Fine Nib, is it similar to the brush nib or it's firmer? It is much firmer, Roberta. It doesn't have the flex that you will be used to with the brush. And I think that that's good because one of the things with the Fine Nib is you want the control over exactly where you're putting that ink to the paper. And so it's that straight, firm pressure that will let you maintain that control over exactly where that ink is going to go. So it's quite a bit firmer. In that regard, I think it's very comparable to the chisel nib. So it's not meant to have the flex that you have on the brush at all. So, but I still color dark to light with them, and I will probably still be teaching dark to light with them in that way. So,
I see a few people asking about if we can give like a month or some more specific dates for when we're shipping or milestones, and um, it is really difficult to give a specific month, just because it all is tied to how quickly we get the numbers that we need to get to. But I can tell you for the milestones, I know we always have some kind of a warning, so we let people know, hey, it's coming up soon, it's ending soon. So that way you have an opportunity to take advantage of it before we turn it off. So just kind of stay posted and keep check the postings and messages, and you will have a heads up on when we are going to stop the milestone.
yeah. Jen, I see Jen, Journey Coach Jen. She's the main, and I can't wait to see Jen when you color with these because you do a lot of detail work, and I think you're going to just love it. So, but yeah, very, very easy to get a lot of, and I don't consider myself a hair colorer. You very rarely will see me even color hair, but I think that will change now that I have a little bit more control and can bring in some, uh, bring have the fine nib control that I just don't get even with the chisel, because even though I've got more control over the chisel nib, it just doesn't. I can't get in that small enough space. So I think about a lot of the smaller images that I love. Lawn Fawn comes to mind. Um, Mama Elephant. It's going to, if you really enjoy those types of images, I think that you're going to love this pin. So I have three that keep leak. Yeah, Laura, just reach out to us at customer service and we can kind of help you with that. Okay, and switch it up a little bit to some reds. So sometimes people tend to avoid red because they think that it has a tendency to get heavy on them. But this is the R1.5. And let's see, I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit about how thin you can get that with the marker. And I'll come in with kind of an orangey red and blend that out. So that's one other thing about me when I go rogue. I sometimes get away from the natural blending pairs that we talk about so much in classes. Natural blending pairs are a great way for you to get started and purchase markers, but don't be afraid to mix and match among them. And so if you are someone that's ordering like that 64 piece or the 128, don't, you'll have colors that you can make work and blend together within those assortments. So don't, because you can definitely go outside of those natural blending pairs to get that done. So let's see, the the clear barrel. Oh, thank you, Lynn. Yeah, the clear barrel. You wouldn't want the clear barrel on your marker because, and this is what they're talking about, is sometimes we have a demonstration where we can show you the ink flow system that's inside our marker. But it's, alcohol marker is a dye-based product. And so you'd have some UV problems and lose some of your vibrancy, I think, if you were constantly, if you had clear barrels, even though they're pretty. So, but any more? I don't know if you have any more questions. We didn't want to keep people a terribly long time this evening, but wanted to just make sure that we had a chance to let you know who we are and what we're doing and what our intentions are. And so, Sue John has a question about the founders and a discount. And the Fine Nib purchase is already discounted, and so the founder application that does not apply because of the discounts that are already factored in and the milestones. Isn't that correct, John?
Yeah, and then the founders did have kind of an exclusive offer when we first launched, but um, and uh, and so that's ended. But founders still have discounts off of the regular olomarker.com website, just not off of the special campaign
Just
because we've already discounted it so much with all the bonuses and everything else.
yep, yep. So um,
And again, just about the clear window. So we actually, this is for I think Roberta. We did try playing around with small windows and seeing what we could do, just because we really like the idea of being able to see ink inside. But the problem is when the window is small, you actually can't see what's going on inside. It has to be a much bigger window with on both sides because of the way the ink is inside the barrel, and you can't see it. But I understand exactly what you're getting at. And if we ever come up with a solution, I will definitely try it. I'm constantly looking for different ways to pull that off. But right now, there isn't a technology that will allow us to protect the ink and also let you see it at the same time.
Yeah. John's always looking for, he's always investigating and exploring and thinking outside the box and ways to make the process easier, more enjoyable. And is there or will there be a zero in the Fine Nib? Yes, absolutely. There will be a zero in the Fine Nib. So we couldn't make our best marker without the magic Fine Nib, right? So um, there will be zero. So just kind
Yeah,
of,
all 256 colors.
mm-hmm. And even though that is not necessarily a color clear. Yes, Christine,
Yeah.
definitely a Fine Nib for the zero. So I keep that at my desk with I keep the zero at my desk in a chisel and in a brush. I can already tell I'm going to have a variety of Fine Nibs stacked up, or zeros stacked up. So, but notice I'm just kind of keeping a very light hand as I color with the Fine Nib. You know, you're going to be able to use it to bring in texture. That's where you're going to use the zero is the texture. So, is there a specific weight that you need to know when you're about to run out of ink? Roberta, there's not, but I do have some tips to help you figure out when you need to refill. First and foremost, if you are having trouble blending and you think, man, I'm not getting the blend that I'm accustomed to with Olo, it's probably because your ink flow is just a little bit dry. So remember that it's that ink flow that it's that it's that moisture that helps your colors blend together. So if all of a sudden combinations that you've always blended together really pretty are not working for you, you might need to refill one of your markers. Another thing that will happen is if your tip starts turning really light, it's because it's not getting enough ink from the marker too. So that's another indication that it's time to refill. And then my third tip for knowing when it's time to refill is if your marker starts talking to you. So, and by that I mean if you're coloring along and all of a sudden it's louder than normal and it's making a scratching sound on the paper, that is a lack of moisture that's causing friction between the nib and the canvas or your paper. And so it's time to kind of look into it. I think you'll get some warning signs before it goes completely dry. Let's see, Kathy, it's 256 including the zero. We consider a zero one of our colors. We just call it zero because of its artistic value. It's no value, no hue. So the properties on that would be zero, and so that's where the name comes from. So, yep. But super exciting. And I think we are excited. We're very happy that you joined us this evening. That's been a great time. Kind of, and the questions have kind of slowed down just a little bit. So don't want to keep you all night. We've got a couple of things coming up though. We are in milestone 2. So as you look at the options to ordering the current milestones, so we are in the second box down, which means if you order during milestone 2, you will accumulate milestone 2, 3, and 4 as the campaign goes on. The longer you wait, if you waited until milestone 3, then you would get the 3 and the 4 milestone as the campaign rounds up. One other thing I wanted to share with you, this is coming up in a couple of weeks, but it's actually 3 weeks from tonight. I'm going to be live with Jen Shirkus, and I think if you are in the paper crafting scene, you definitely know Jen, and you know that Jen it knows an incredible amount about alcohol markers. She has taught alcohol marker coloring for many, many years. I have a lot of respect for her, and she and I are going to be live at Scrapbook and Cards today on Wednesday night, the 26th of August. So be put us on your calendar if you're interested in coloring tiny images. I know that we're going to be talking a lot about that. And I think if you can always reach out to us at hello@olomarker.com, and we're happy to get back to you. And we are very excited about the campaign and excited about, bringing this product to our fans and to our customers and to our community. Community was the word that I was looking for, because I think you're going to love it. So, John, do you have any parting words to share? And
Not other than we just really appreciate you all. Thank
yeah,
you so much
we do.
for being here, and thanks for believing in us and our product. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you.
Yep. A lot of people on here who have said that they are already involved. So that's very exciting, and we're very much appreciative. So let me see. Will you have interchangeable nibs or new markers? Yes, Deanne. We will have replacement nibs for the Fine Nib, just not at the same time as the pre-sale campaign. So and if you came in late, we did talk about that quite a bit at the beginning. So you can always come back and catch us. You can always reach out to me on Instagram or Messenger. I'm happy to answer questions. hello@olomarker.com. Happy to answer questions there. And I think we'll let you get on with the rest of your evening. Thanks for just setting aside a few minutes to join us. And we will look forward to talking with you again soon. Have a good night.
Bye bye.